Hello, my name is Harrison Condit, and I've been 35 years in the life insurance business. And I'm here today to share with you a rule of economics called the Rule of 72. Now, this is a rule that should be taught in our schools, but unfortunately for most people it is not. So there are going to be some of you who know about this and others of you who don't. The Rule of 72 is simple. It says that if you take the interest rate you earn on your money and you divide it into 72, the result will be the number of years it takes your money to double. So let's take an example of that. Let's suppose that you earn 8% on your money. Well, you divide 8 into 72, and it says now that your money is going to double every 9 years. What we're going to do today is use this rule to compare several different types of investments. When we do these kinds of comparisons, at the end, what most people say to us is, how come I've never heard of this before? And secondly, is anybody else doing it? The answer to those two questions are really quite simple. First of all, most people get their information from the television set, their economic information particularly. They hear about the stock market and mutual funds. And the reason for that is that the commentators at these stations are more interested in telling people about how their money in their 401k is doing than educating them about what real economic principles are. So you're not going to hear it on television. You might hear it from other financial advisors, but for the most part, particularly life insurance people, are not educated in economic concepts. So you're not going to hear it from your life insurance guy. And thirdly, as I stated before, you're probably not or never would hear it in your schools today. So it's really unlikely that you would have heard of this economic principle unless you were an actual student of finance. The second question is anybody else doing this? Well, I have here today a book that is called Tax-Free Retirement. And in this book, it's outlined pretty much the principles we're talking about here. And this is a nationwide bestseller. So obviously people are taking a look at this and using it. So let's continue with our investigation. As I said, we're going to be comparing various different economic possibilities with your money. To do that, we're going to arbitrarily pick a set of parameters that will allow us to do just that. So for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to take an individual who's 35 years of age. We're going to say that's who's investing. We're going to say that we invest one time $100,000. Now, why do we use $100,000? Because most 35-year-olds don't have $100,000 to invest. Well, we know economically that investing $100,000 one time is the same as investing much smaller amounts of money over a longer period of time, but it's a lot easier mathematically to use 100 once than it is to try to do it on a monthly basis. So this is simply to demonstrate the principle. Next, we're going to say that no matter where we invest, we're going to use 9% on our money. Now most people say, well, hey, you can't make 9% on a CD, or you probably can't even make 9% on your 401k. Well, we do know there are investments that can do that, so what we're going to do is level the playing field by using that amount. A note here is that no matter what percentage you use, you're going to come out with the same result, percentage-wise. Lastly, we need to consider taxes, because that, as you'll see, is one of the largest problems for investors in the future. We're going to use a 33 1/3 tax bracket. We're going to use that bracket for two reasons. One, it's pretty close to what most people pay. And secondly, it's an easy number to deal with because it's a third, it equals a third, and so we can do the math pretty easily. So let's start with taxable investments. What are taxable investments? Well, most of you know. They're stocks, mutual funds, CDs. All of these are investments that are not protected under tax-deferred rules in the marketplace. Let's take our 35-year-old. We said that he had $100,000 to invest. Now, in the taxable environment, we know we were going to earn 9% on our money because that's the premise that we used for this example. We know we're going to pay a third in taxes, so a third of 9 is 3%. We subtract our taxes from our 9%, and we end up with a 6% net after-tax return on investment. When we divide that into 72, what we see is that we're going to have a double of our money every 12 years. So therefore, we have a double at age 47, we have a double at age 59, we have a double at age 71. So we go in and plug those numbers in, and we see that we have 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, and finally 800,000 at age 71. So that's what we would make in a taxable environment with our investment. Now let's go to tax-deferred investments. Tax-deferred investments are such things as 401ks, IRAs, SEPs, or SEPs as they're known, life insurance, annuities. All those are tax-deferred investments. So again, we have our 35-year-old, and he has $100,000 to invest. Now we can calculate how long it takes our money to double in a tax-deferred environment. So we have the same 9% return as we said we'd have in all investments. But now, in a tax-deferred environment, we don't have any taxes during the accumulation phase. So obviously, if we subtract 0 from 9%, we get 9. And we divide that into 72, and we see that our money doubles every 8 years. So that means we have a double at age 43, we have a double at age 51, we have a double at age 59, and we have a double at age 67. So now filling in the numbers, we see in the first double we have 200, then the next we have 400, then the next we have 800, and the next we have $1,600,000. Well, isn't that interesting? We have twice the amount of money in the tax-deferred environment that we did in the taxable environment. It's interesting to note that we invested our money, $100,000, and in the taxable environment, the government made exactly as much money as we did. We made $800,000, and they made $800,000 on our money. It's quite a bit more than 33 1/3 taxes, don't you think? Why is that? Well, the reason for it is that when the government takes your money, or anybody else takes your money for that matter, they not only take the money, but they take the money that money could have made. We call that opportunity costs. So as a result, we have a situation where the government makes as much money as you do on your investments. Now, most people don't invest money just to have a pile of money sitting around. Some do, but most don't. They invest their money so they can create a retirement income that would hopefully last the rest of their life. So if we were to calculate at this point, how much money could we take out of our taxable environment? How much income could we take out and have it pretty much last the rest of our life? Well, if we don't touch the principal and we just take our 6% that we continue to earn, then we could know what our income would be. So if we take 6% of $800,000, we see that our net after-tax income annually for the rest of our life will be $48,000. Now let's move on to the tax-deferred environment. Now, when we go to take money out of our 401k, our SEP, or IRA, we're going to be taxed. We can't take 9% out. We can only take the 6% out. So if we take 6% of $1,600,000, that means we make $96,000 net after tax annually for the rest of our life. Quite a bit different than the taxable environment. But what if we could take out the full 9%? In other words, not pay any taxes on our money. Well, that means that we could take 9% of $1,600,000 every year. That number happens to be $144,000 per year. Quite a bit different than even the tax-deferred environment. So what is this product? Well, interestingly enough, this product is life insurance. Why is this possible? Well, the reason it's possible is because when you're taking money out of a life insurance contract, you have the option to take loans out of the policy. You continue to take loans, and they're calculated within the policy. And when you die, the death benefit comes back and pays off the loan. Well, loans aren't income, and the death benefit is tax-free. So what you have here is a situation where you never ever have to pay taxes on that income, because it isn't income, it's loans. This is extremely helpful in today's economic environment. For those of you who think tax rates are going to go up, what would happen in the taxable or the tax-deferred environment if the politicians decided to raise the income tax rates to 60, 70, or even 80%? In the 60s, that rate rose all the way, the marginal rate rose all the way to 90%. Well, you'd have substantially less income. In addition, you have a situation here where the people who invested in the tax-deferred environment and the taxable environment, with the exception of life insurance, would probably have to buy a life insurance policy to protect their family or their business. Well, that would mean that they would have to have more premium coming out of that income, whereas in the life insurance policy, that death benefit is built in. So these are all substantial advantages to life insurance policies. There are others, and those can be discussed at a later time. This has been Harrison Condit. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and I hope it goes to serve both you, your family, and your loved ones. Have a good day.